They fear being alone because silence unmasks them. When there's no audience, no approval, no distraction, they come face to face with the unfiltered truth of who they are. And that truth terrifies them. But those who aim to master life walk directly into that silence. They do not run from solitude. They study it, absorb it, and allow it to carve discipline into their character. Isolation is not emptiness. It is the space where the mind regains its edge, where emotion bends to will, and where clarity becomes a weapon. In solitude, every weakness is exposed, every false belief is shattered. It's where you learn to command your own thoughts instead of being commanded by them. The powerful understand that before you can rule your environment, you must rule your impulses, your time, and your focus. They do not waste energy seeking validation. They cultivate self-respect quietly. In the stillness, they train their mind to become precise, unshaken, and strategic. So stay alone until you master yourself. The world may not understand your distance, but distance is necessary for dominance. When you emerge, you will not need to speak loudly. Your presence will carry its own gravity. Remember, every moment in solitude is a deposit into your future strength. Comment this now. Solitude is my sword. Let it mark the beginning of your inner transformation, the vow that you will become unshakable, focused, and sovereign over your own mind. Number 1, the dissection of weakness. Power begins where excuses end. Every person claims they want control, yet most crumble when discipline is required. Weakness doesn't arrive as an enemy. It grows like a shadow, feeding on comfort, distraction, and emotional reaction. It hides in daily habits, in delayed goals, in the subtle avoidance of discomfort. The man who seeks mastery must learn to expose this hidden enemy, to dissect his own flaws without fear or emotion. True strength is not about appearing fearless. It's about understanding fear and moving through it with precision. A disciplined mind studies its own behavior. It watches how it reacts under stress, what it desires when bored, and what it avoids when challenged. This is the foundation of inner power, brutal self-awareness. To command your life, you must become both observer and executor, capable of analyzing yourself without judgment. Weakness loses its grip when you name it. Once you can identify the exact thought or habit that holds you back, you begin to dismantle it. Self-mastery is built through quiet correction, not emotional reaction. Each time you resist the urge to explain, defend, or complain, you sharpen the blade of restraint. And restraint is the highest form of power. It's what separates a strategist from a follower. Strength does not roar. It watches, waits, and strikes only when purpose demands it. The powerful man controls his impulses with the same discipline a warrior controls his weapon. Emotions may surge, but he remains still. Anger doesn't dictate his words. Ego doesn't shape his choices. This composure makes him unreadable, and the unreadable are untouchable. Understand this. The world belongs to those who act with control, not reaction. Every situation you face is a test of composure. When insulted, stay calm. When doubted, stay silent. When challenged, stay deliberate. You do not owe the world an emotional response. Your silence is often the loudest proof of power. Power also requires precision. Every action must have intent. Every word must carry meaning. The undisciplined man speaks too quickly, reveals too much, and gives away his advantage through emotion. The disciplined man moves in calculated steps, building influence quietly, observing deeply, and acting only when the time is right. To dismantle weakness, you must understand yourself more deeply than others ever could. You must know what provokes you, what tempts you, and what drains your focus. Once you master those elements, no one can use them against you. This is the Machiavellian truth. Control begins with awareness. Before you can lead others, you must command your inner world. Physical training, mental discipline, emotional control, all are extensions of the same principle. Dominance through order. Train your body not to impress, but to endure. Train your mind not to react, but to respond. Train your emotions not to vanish, but to serve purpose. Every hour of self-discipline becomes a brick in the fortress of your mind. in this path, you'll be misunderstood. When you no longer chase attention, people will call you distant. When you no longer need approval, they'll label you cold. Accept it. Detachment is not arrogance, it's efficiency. You cannot carry the weight of other people's opinions while building your own empire. Observe others, not to manipulate, but to understand. People reveal their fears in conversation, their ambitions in envy, and their weaknesses in overexposure. When you can see these patterns clearly, you move through the world with quiet confidence. The calm man often wins because he's the only one who can think clearly while everyone else reacts. Mastery is not about domination, it's about direction. The one who directs his energy with precision eventually directs outcomes. Control your time, protect your focus, guard your peace. When you do, you become a force that no chaos can touch. So dissect your weaknesses, face them, break them down piece by piece until there's nothing left to fear. Every time you overcome an old limitation, your power grows. Every time you stay calm under pressure, your strength compounds. That is how men of purpose are forged, through quiet, consistent self-discipline. Comment this now. Control is strength. Say it with intent. Let it be your daily command. You are not competing with others. You're competing with the version of yourself that once hesitated. And the moment hesitation dies, mastery is born. When you walk with calmness in chaos, patience under pressure, and purpose under uncertainty, the world begins to shift around you. You no longer chase opportunity, you attract it. You no longer react to energy, you command it. That is the mark of a man who has dissected his weakness and rebuilt himself into something unbreakable. Number 2, the architecture of control. Control is not a gift. It is an architecture. Every detail of your mind, every habit, every choice becomes a brick in that structure. Most people drift through life reacting to events, but the man who seeks power designs his own systems. He doesn't wait for clarity, he builds it. He doesn't wait for strength, he forges it through discipline. Control is not born from chance, it's engineered through deliberate order. To construct control, you must begin with the foundation, your attention. Where attention goes, energy follows, and where energy flows, identity grows. If your mind is scattered, your power is scattered. When you give attention to trivial things, arguments, gossip, distractions, you dilute your influence. But when you focus your attention with surgical precision on your vision, every action starts to carry weight. Control begins where attention is mastered. Time is your second foundation stone. Every minute you waste is a piece of potential that dissolves. The powerful understand that time is not measured in hours, it's measured in effectiveness. Most people fill their days with activity. The strategic man fills his day with intention. He doesn't rush, he moves with rhythm. He doesn't chase opportunity, he prepares for it until it arrives on his terms. Control means making time your ally, not your master. Next comes emotional structure. A man ruled by emotion is a man without armor. Feelings will visit you, anger, frustration, temptation, but they are guests, not kings. The powerful man listens but does not obey. He observes emotion as data, not as a directive. This is not coldness, it's clarity. When emotion no longer dictates your decisions, you ascend beyond reaction into reason. That's where strategy lives. That's where you become untouchable. Control also requires environment. Your surroundings shape your state. The energy of your space reflects the discipline of your mind. If your environment is chaotic, your focus will fracture. Simplify what surrounds you. Remove what doesn't align with your mission. Every object, every sound, every person in your circle should have purpose. You are the architect of your space. Design it to reflect strength, not distraction. But the architecture of control extends beyond your physical world. It's built into how you handle chaos. The world will always test you. Unexpected losses, betrayals, obstacles. Those are not signs of weakness. They're invitations to evolve. Control doesn't mean avoiding storms. It means learning to stand unshaken while they rage. When others panic, you breathe. When others break, you bend and adapt. The storm reveals who has discipline and who has dependency. To build control, you must also master your narrative. How you speak to yourself determines how you act under pressure. Weak self-talk creates weak execution. Speak to yourself with the tone of command, not complaint. Say, "I will," not "I hope." Say, "I decide," not "I'll try." The voice in your head becomes the architecture of your identity. Construct it with precision. Remember this truth. Control is not suppression. It's direction. Suppression ignores emotion. Direction channels it. Anger can destroy, or it can drive. Fear can paralyze, or it can prepare. The difference lies in command. The disciplined man takes the raw material of emotion and forges it into fuel. He converts chaos into energy. That's alchemy, the transformation of feeling into force. Mental architecture also requires isolation. Solitude is where design happens. In silence, you see the patterns others miss. You notice your tendencies, your recurring thoughts, your self-imposed limits. When you understand your inner blueprint, you can rebuild it stronger. Every day, spend time in solitude not to escape the world, but to refine your mind's architecture. There's also control in communication. Words reveal power or weakness. Speak with precision. Never waste language. The strong do not overshare. They understate. Each word should serve a purpose: to inform, to influence, or to command. The fewer words you use, the more weight each one carries. Control your tone. Control your pacing. Speak less, say more. And then there's the architecture of habit. Power doesn't rise in sudden bursts. It's built brick by brick, decision by decision. Every habit is either constructing strength or eroding it. You are never neutral. The small acts, waking early, reading with focus, training your body, maintaining order, these are not routines. They're rituals. Rituals create rhythm, and rhythm creates control. A disciplined life doesn't happen overnight. It's a system you maintain daily. Systems remove emotion from decision-making. You don't need to feel motivated when you've built systems that keep you moving regardless. The ordinary man depends on mood. The powerful man depends on process. That's the difference between chaos and control. But the most difficult architecture to master is the mind under temptation. Power is tested not in moments of victory, but in restraint. When you can have something and choose not to, you own your desire instead of being owned by it. Restraint is the purest form of power. It shows that your discipline is greater than your craving. That's where true sovereignty lives. Observe your daily reactions. Every time you choose composure over impulse, you reinforce your architecture. Every time you choose patience over anger, you strengthen your foundation. Every time you stay disciplined when no one is watching, you polish the internal steel of self-control. That's what defines men of purpose. They act from principle, not emotion. People may misread your calmness as arrogance. Let them. Their misunderstanding is their limit, not yours. You are not here to explain your discipline. You're here to embody it. The calm man carries mystery. The disciplined man carries gravity. Others can sense when you move with purpose. They feel it, even if they can't describe it. That quiet energy is influence without effort. And remember, control is not about perfection, it's about progress. Even the strongest minds face chaos. What separates the powerful is not immunity, but mastery of recovery. When you fall, rise with composure. When you fail, learn with precision. Every setback is a blueprint for refinement. You do not lose, you recalibrate. Comment this now. Order over chaos. Let it sink in. Because control is not a single act. It's a continuous architecture you reinforce through every decision, every reaction, every thought. The moment you understand that, you stop chasing power externally and begin engineering it internally. Over time, this architecture becomes visible. It shapes your posture, your energy, your reputation. People sense stability in your presence. They feel anchored around you. That's real power, not dominance, but gravity. Keep building your architecture. Align your thoughts with intention, your words with precision, your habits with discipline. Each moment of focus becomes a stone in your fortress. Each act of restraint becomes a gate that keeps chaos out. And one day, you'll stand within your own structure, calm, powerful, and untouchable. Number 3, the discipline of presence. Presence is not about being seen, it's about being felt. A man who has mastered presence doesn't demand attention, he commands it without speaking. Presence is the quiet force that walks into a room and shifts the energy without a word. It's not about appearance, nor about dominance. It's the outcome of inner discipline, the convergence of clarity, composure, and control. To master presence, you must first master attention, both yours and others. Presence is rooted in awareness, where you are, who you are, and what you project. The undisciplined drift through time half awake, lost in distraction and self-doubt. The disciplined are fully awake in every moment. Their mind does not wander. Their focus does not scatter. Their awareness is absolute. That's why people feel their energy before they hear their words. A powerful presence begins with posture, not the spine, but the spirit. When your mind stands upright, your body follows. When your intent is sharp, your eyes convey it before your mouth ever moves. People read your energy long before they interpret your sentences. Learn to speak with stillness. Let silence become your punctuation. You don't need to rush to fill the air. Your composure does it for you. Presence is not performance. It's not about being loud or charismatic. Those are temporary signals. True presence is built on authenticity anchored by mastery. It's the natural gravity of a man who has nothing to prove. He walks differently because he moves with purpose. His words carry authority because they come from understanding, not impulse. When you've built control within, presence becomes the reflection of that internal architecture. The discipline of presence demands that you slow down. Most people move too fast, speak too soon, react too easily. But the more deliberate your pace, the more authority you project. Every action, every glance, every response should carry intention. Control your rhythm, control your breath. When you slow your internal tempo, you take control of the moment. That's how leaders operate. The world bends toward the calm. To cultivate this discipline, eliminate the need to be everywhere. Presence is depth, not width. You don't need to be noticed by everyone. You need to be remembered by those who matter. In every interaction, focus on creating impact, not impressions. Listen deeply, speak clearly, exit quietly. Power doesn't linger. It leaves a mark and moves on. Understand this. The present moment is the only battlefield where strength can exist. Regret belongs to the past, anxiety to the future. Power exists only in now. When you act with full presence, time slows, thoughts align, and execution sharpens. This is where precision is born. When you stop existing in fragments and become whole in the moment. Presence also means control under pressure. When chaos strikes, everyone looks for the one who remains still. Be that one. When you speak, do so with calmness. When you act, do so with decisiveness. Never rush to prove competence. Demonstrate it through composure. The greatest power lies in still authority. To sustain presence, you must also protect your energy. Every interaction is an exchange. Some people feed your clarity, others drain it. Choose your company like you choose your weapons, with discernment and purpose. If a person disturbs your peace more than they contribute to your progress, distance yourself quietly. Detachment is not coldness. It's protection of your frequency. Presence is built in solitude, but tested in society. Alone, you train your awareness. Among others, you test it. Can you remain focused while surrounded by noise? Can you stay grounded when ego tempts you to perform? The answer to those questions defines your strength. Presence is not lost when attention shifts. It's lost when your mind reacts. The disciplined man understands that stillness is not passivity. It's potential energy held in control. Every great strategist knows that patience is the most intimidating form of strength. You can feel it in those who know exactly what they want, yet choose to wait. Presence is the language of patience. To sharpen it, practice awareness in motion. When you walk, feel every step. When you listen, truly hear. When you speak, weigh each word before releasing it. Life is not a race to the next moment. It's the art of mastering this one. The man who lives fully in the moment controls both pace and perception. Presence also requires inner alignment. Your actions, words, and thoughts must move in the same direction. When they contradict, your energy fractures and people feel it, even if they can't name it. Integrity is the silent engine of power. When your behavior matches your values, your presence becomes unbreakable. You are no longer playing a role, you are embodying truth. To embody presence, cut the noise, limit digital clutter, gossip, and unnecessary reactions. The modern mind is constantly overstimulated. Reclaim yours. The fewer external inputs you absorb, the clearer your signal becomes. Clarity is magnetic. People gravitate toward those who radiate calm conviction in a world of confusion. And yet presence is not something you chase. It's something you cultivate. You don't create it by trying to impress others. You create it by mastering yourself so completely that impression happens naturally. The world feels the man who knows where he stands, what he wants, and how he moves. When you operate with discipline, even silence becomes your ally. You start to see how few words are needed to influence, how much power resides in observation, how much respect grows from patience. You become untouchable not because you isolate, but because you emanate control from the inside out. This is the essence of the discipline of presence: calm intensity, deliberate focus, and quiet strength. No performance, no noise, just precision in motion. Comment this now. Stillness is power. Let that phrase anchor in your mind, because true presence is not the art of being noticed, it's the art of being undeniable. Number 4. The temper of power. Power without restraint destroys itself. Strength without temper becomes chaos. The mark of a true strategist is not his capacity to act, but his ability to pause, to hold his force in reserve until it serves a greater outcome. This is the temper of power, the discipline to act with precision, not impulse. Every man seeks strength, but few understand its weight. Power is not a prize, it's a burden. It exposes your weaknesses, magnifies your flaws, and demands control of both mind and emotion. The undisciplined crumble under it because they chase dominance before discipline. The wise man, however, tempers his strength through patience, self-governance, and restraint. The most dangerous man is not the one who reacts with rage. It's the one who feels anger and chooses silence. Silence that thinks, silence that calculates, silence that decides with intent. The moment you learn to slow your reaction, you begin to own your world. Power lives in that pause, the second between impulse and decision. Every outburst, every overreaction, every emotional slip is a leak in your control. Your task is to seal those leaks, to turn emotion into energy, energy into direction, and direction into strategy. The temper of power is found in your ability to delay gratification, to hold composure under fire, and to choose long-term victory over short-term validation. History remembers men who were calm in chaos, because calmness is rare and rarity is respected. Kings, generals, thinkers. Their dominance was never just in words or armies, but in their ability to remain centered while others fell apart. They understood that composure is command. To cultivate temper, you must study yourself as if you were your own opponent. What provokes you? What distracts you? What triggers that impulse to act before thinking? The awareness of these patterns is your map to mastery. Once you see the pattern, you can rewrite it. Once you master it, no one can use it against you. The untempered man is loud, restless, and easily read. The tempered man is still, sharp, and unpredictable. He does not reveal his moves. He reveals only outcomes. He doesn't argue. He acts. He doesn't chase. He attracts. That's what happens when your energy is restrained yet focused. It begins to pull the world toward your intent. This kind of power cannot be faked. It comes from hours of silent self-reflection, from learning to hold tension without breaking. It comes from choosing dignity over impulse and clarity over reaction. You can't buy it, you can't imitate it, you must become it. Temper is not weakness, it's mastery over timing. The greatest warriors strike not when they are angry, but when the moment is right. The greatest thinkers do not rush to respond. They let silence sharpen their message. The greatest leaders do not act to be seen, they act to succeed. Patience is not delay, it's precision in disguise. To live by the temper of power, train yourself to detach from urgency. The world will constantly demand your reaction, to news, to conflict, to emotion. Refuse to be pulled. Observe, breathe, calculate, decide. This is how you remain the calm within the storm, the one who thinks while others panic. You are not here to match the world's speed. You are here to master its rhythm. Control your tone. The way you speak reflects the temperature of your mind. Never let your voice rise to match emotion. Speak low, slow, and deliberate. When you control your tone, you control the frame. When you control the frame, you control the direction of any situation. A calm tone disarms chaos faster than any argument ever could. In the temper of power, composure becomes your weapon. The one who stays composed commands perception. People instinctively follow calm energy. It signals safety, dominance, and direction. The louder others become, the more your silence speaks. Your calmness reminds them that you cannot be shaken, and that unsettles them more than anger ever could. Patience is not passive, it's preparation. The man who waits strategically is already moving, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He's aligning his thoughts with the precise moment when execution matters most. Impulsiveness scatters strength. Patience concentrates it. Your delay is not hesitation, it's aim. This kind of power is built slowly. It's not earned in moments of comfort, but in moments where every fiber of you wants to react, and you choose control instead. Every time you delay an emotional response, every time you hold back from explaining yourself, every time you choose strategy over validation, you add another layer of armor to your character. Understand this, true power is never noisy. It's not the roar of aggression, but the gravity of composure. The calm man may not look powerful, but he walks with the kind of presence that silences rooms. That is not arrogance. It's certainty. Certainty in who he is, what he stands for, and what he will not tolerate. The temper of power requires solitude and self-observation. When you sit alone, study how your mind reacts to silence. Does it wander? Does it race? Does it crave stimulation? That's where the real training happens. If you can control your mind in silence, you can control it anywhere. Silence is not emptiness. It's a mirror that reveals your level of discipline. Learn to let time work for you. When others rush into decisions, step back. When others over-explain, simplify. When others seek control through volume, gain control through stillness. The longer you can remain patient under uncertainty, the stronger your authority becomes. You start to realize that control isn't about having power. It's about holding it without needing to prove it. The powerful man doesn't flex. He doesn't chase acknowledgement. He knows his worth, and his restraint confirms it. The moment you no longer need to prove your value, you've already ascended beyond competition. That is the temper of power, quiet confidence born from deep command. It's easy to act strong when things are easy, but temper is revealed in tension. When things fall apart, when emotions rise, when pressure builds, the tempered mind stays steady, it bends, but doesn't break. It adapts, but doesn't yield. Power is not in resistance alone. It's in resilience with intelligence. Temper doesn't mean you suppress your nature. It means you channel it. You don't kill emotion, you guide it. You don't deny anger, you train it to serve purpose. Every feeling has fuel in it, but only the disciplined can convert that fuel into motion without explosion. That's what makes the tempered man unstoppable. When you live by this principle, your life transforms. People begin to sense something different about you, a weight in your words, a calm in your gaze, an assurance in your presence. You stop chasing reactions and start creating direction. You stop living from emotion and start living from control. Comment this now. Calm is command. Because when you master temper, you master the essence of power itself, not the loud kind, not the forced kind, the kind that endures, quiet, composed, and immovable. Number 5, the sovereignty of the mind. A man who does not rule his mind can rule nothing. The mind is the throne of all power, and every battle begins there, unseen, unspoken, but decisive. Before you can command respect, wealth, or influence, you must establish sovereignty over the one kingdom that no one else can enter, your thoughts. Sovereignty of the mind begins with ownership. You must take responsibility for what lives inside your head, your beliefs, your patterns, your fears, and your focus. The weak mind is not conquered by others. It is surrendered by its owner. Every time you let external noise dictate your emotions, you give away a piece of your crown. Every time you let opinions shape your path, you weaken your rule. The mind is sacred ground. Guard it as you would a fortress. To command your mind, you must first understand it. Observe your thoughts without becoming them. Watch how the mind reacts under stress, how it wanders in boredom, how it invents stories when uncertain. This observation is not judgment, it's reconnaissance. You cannot control what you do not understand. Once you start watching your own thoughts with detachment, you begin to separate from them. That separation is the first taste of freedom. Sovereignty is clarity, the ability to decide what deserves space in your mind and what must be exiled. Every thought is a seed, and if you don't choose what you plant, the weeds of chaos will grow by default. The disciplined mind does not let randomness take root. It chooses thoughts aligned with purpose, dismisses distractions, and directs attention like a general commanding his troops. The sovereign mind is not easily disturbed. It is not reactive to opinion, insult, or chaos. It listens, but it decides what to absorb. It feels emotion, but it doesn't drown in it. It remembers pain, but it doesn't live in it. The sovereign mind uses everything, even suffering, as fuel for awareness. Nothing is wasted. This level of control is not arrogance, it's order, and order is power. The man who maintains inner order radiates outer stability. His movements become deliberate, his energy sharp, his decisions clean. People trust the one who remains clear when everyone else loses direction. They sense that he is anchored in something stronger than emotion. He is governed by reason. Mental sovereignty is built on 3 pillars: focus, self-talk, and discipline. Focus determines your direction. Self-talk determines your identity. Discipline maintains both. Without focus, the mind scatters. Without control of your inner dialogue, the mind sabotages. Without discipline, even clarity collapses under temptation. These 3 must work as one structure: unshakable, synchronized, sovereign. Focus requires elimination. You cannot think like a ruler if your attention is divided among meaningless noise. Reduce inputs. Guard your mental bandwidth like currency. Spend it only where it multiplies your value. The sovereign mind is not filled with excess. It's stripped down to essentials. Then comes self-talk, the inner voice that shapes your perception of reality. Words are not harmless. They are spells cast upon your mind. The sovereign man does not allow his inner voice to speak like a victim. He speaks to himself like a strategist. He uses words that build direction, not doubt. He reminds himself that he is not at the mercy of emotion or chance. He moves with intent, and his inner language reflects that. Discipline is the enforcement of sovereignty. It's the act of saying no to distractions, to temptation, to mental drift. Each time you enforce that no, you reinforce your rule. Discipline is not restriction, it's protection. You are not limiting your life. You are preserving the strength of your mind. The sovereign mind understands perception. It knows that what you see is filtered by what you believe. If you believe you are powerless, you'll interpret every challenge as defeat. If you believe you are capable, you'll see the same challenge as a test. That's why your beliefs are the architects of your experience. To rule your life, you must first reforge your beliefs until they serve your strength, not your weakness. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both lion and fox, strong enough to fight, wise enough to avoid traps. The same principle applies to the mind. You must have the mental ferocity to push forward, but also the subtlety to adapt when needed. Rigidity is not sovereignty. It's fragility disguised as strength. The sovereign mind bends, but does not break. It adjusts without surrendering its core. To maintain sovereignty, you must train your mind daily. This is not abstract, it's practical. Start each day by centering your focus. Decide what deserves your energy and what does not. Review your emotions as if you were reading a report. What influenced me today? What distracted me? What strengthened me? Treat your mental life like an empire that requires strategy and maintenance. You'll face resistance. The mind will rebel at first. It loves old habits and predictable reactions. It will tempt you to scroll, to argue, to indulge. This is your test. Each time you resist, you reclaim ground. Each time you redirect attention back to what matters, you reinforce your rule. This is how mental sovereignty expands, one conscious decision at a time. There will be moments when others try to invade your peace, through words, through chaos, through manipulation. Do not defend impulsively, defend intelligently. The sovereign mind never fights every battle. It chooses which ground is worth standing on. Indifference is often the most elegant form of power. Not every attack deserves a reaction. Not every noise deserves attention. Sovereignty also means detachment. You are not your thoughts, you are the thinker. You are not your emotions, you are the observer. This distinction is the difference between being ruled and ruling. The moment you stop identifying with mental turbulence, you become the one who commands it. To live this way is to experience freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to remain composed no matter what happens. The world may shift, people may disappoint, plans may fail, but your mind remains unbroken. That is true sovereignty. Comment this now. My mind obeys me. Because when your thoughts follow your command, your reality follows your design. The sovereign man does not chase control. He is control. Your goal is not to silence the mind, but to lead it, to turn thought into servant, not master, to think consciously, speak deliberately, act decisively. In a world of noise, your clarity will feel like a revolution. When you achieve sovereignty of the mind, you no longer react to the world. You shape it. Your presence becomes calm, your direction unshakable, and your influence effortless. This is the essence of power that cannot be taken, only earned. The kind that does not shout but commands. The kind that outlasts chaos. Rule your mind and you rule your life. Number 6, the aesthetic of power. Power is not only felt, it is seen. It has an aesthetic, a presence, a rhythm. Every move, every word, every silence contributes to the image you project into the world. The aesthetic of power is not about appearance, it's about coherence. It's about the alignment between what you think, what you do, and what you allow. When all three move as one, you radiate authority without speaking a word. The aesthetic of power begins with simplicity. Complexity is a mask for chaos. The powerful understand the value of clean lines, deliberate gestures, and controlled expressions. When your space, your posture, and your manner are stripped of excess, your presence gains density. There's no noise, only intent. Simplicity creates gravity. People feel drawn to it because it represents order in a world addicted to clutter. Look at history's enduring figures, leaders, philosophers, warriors. Their aesthetic was never loud. It was controlled, minimal, purposeful. Their energy spoke through stillness. Power doesn't decorate itself, it defines itself. The man who knows his direction doesn't need embellishment. His focus becomes his design. The way you carry yourself is the language of dominance. Posture is communication. Movement is influence. A slow, measured motion speaks of calm control. A still gaze communicates confidence. A composed silence commands attention more than 1,000 words. The powerful move as if time bends for them, because internally they are never rushed. Your body is an instrument of communication before your mouth ever opens. Every step, every breath, every expression tells a story about your level of control. Discipline translates through the smallest details. The way you stand, the way you listen, the way you pause before you speak. When your outer form mirrors your inner order, you become a walking symbol of precision. The aesthetic of power is also restraint. It's knowing that mystery magnifies respect. In a world that overshares, silence is luxury. When you reveal less, you force others to interpret. Their curiosity becomes your influence. Never give people full access to your thoughts or emotions. Leave space for them to wonder. The mind respects what it cannot easily define. Your appearance, your style, your environment, your speech should all be extensions of purpose, not performance. The sovereign mind doesn't seek attention through flash. It earns attention through presence. Power expresses itself subtly, through clarity, through confidence, through the quiet assurance that everything around you exists by choice, not by chance. To cultivate this aesthetic, start with your space. The environment you build is a reflection of your psychology. Remove what is useless. Surround yourself with symbols of discipline, not luxury, but purpose. Every object should earn its place. When your surroundings are intentional, your mind aligns with that same order. You begin to think sharper, move cleaner, and act with greater resolve. Your clothing too should carry the same message. Not a costume of power, but a uniform of discipline. Choose structure over extravagance, precision over noise. The way you dress should whisper authority, not scream for attention. Simplicity amplified by confidence becomes elegance. Elegance amplified by purpose becomes presence. Voice is another pillar of power's aesthetic. The way you speak should reflect composure. Each word delivered with control, each pause filled with weight. Speak slowly. Breathe between sentences. Let silence emphasize your certainty. The man who controls the rhythm of his speech controls the rhythm of attention. But the most powerful aesthetic is behavioral consistency. Nothing destroys respect faster than unpredictability born from emotion. When your words and actions remain consistent over time, people begin to trust your direction. They know that you move with principle, not reaction. That reliability builds an aura stronger than intimidation. It builds belief. Power's aesthetic is rooted in mastery of self. It's the art of appearing effortless because every detail has been shaped by discipline. When your internal state is calm and decisive, your external form naturally mirrors that stillness. This is why true power needs no validation. It is its own confirmation. The aesthetic of power also extends to how you interact with others. The powerful man listens more than he speaks. He observes tone, posture, micro-expressions, gathering information others miss. Observation is influence. When you make others feel seen without needing to be seen yourself, you gain control of the dynamic. You become the still point in the spinning room. Restraint in conversation is a lost art. Let others talk freely. The more they reveal, the more you learn. The more you listen, the more authority your silence gains. When you finally speak, your words carry the weight of someone who doesn't waste them. Silence prepares your impact. Precision delivers it. A Machiavellian truth. People are drawn not to loudness, but to certainty. Confidence is magnetic because it provides structure. Your calmness gives others stability. When you stand firm, they sense safety in your direction. When you radiate self-control, they unconsciously follow your lead. That is the invisible aesthetic of power, leadership through composed presence. The disciplined man designs every part of his life around efficiency and intent. His relationships are selective. His routines are exact. His time is structured. His energy is guarded. This doesn't make him rigid. It makes him rare. Most people live scattered, reacting to everything. The rare few move deliberately, creating a sense of inevitability about their success. That inevitability is the quiet beauty of mastery. And yet, the aesthetic of power is not static. It evolves. As you refine your inner order, your outer form adapts. You start to simplify more, detach more, focus more. What once impressed you begins to feel heavy. What once distracted you begins to feel foreign. Power refines taste. It makes you allergic to the unnecessary. Control becomes your aesthetic. Precision becomes your identity. Everything around you, from the tone of your voice to the order of your workspace, begins to reflect the same calm symmetry. And that symmetry communicates one thing: dominion. The world senses it before you declare it. Comment this now. My presence speaks before I do. Because when your discipline becomes visible, words become optional. That is the true aesthetic of power, when everything about you, from the way you move to the way you exist, becomes a silent statement of control. The man who achieves this no longer competes. He doesn't seek validation. He doesn't argue or explain. He simply is. His energy speaks a language that only those with depth can hear. Power, at its highest form, is not loud or aggressive. It's quiet, poised, and magnetic. Remember this: power refined is power eternal. The aesthetic of power isn't about creating an image. It's about becoming one. When every detail of your life reflects order, restraint, and intention, you don't chase influence. You embody it. So, move with precision, dress with intention, speak with clarity, live with discipline, because the way you carry yourself is your declaration to the world. You are not controlled by it. You control yourself, and through that, everything else. Number 7, the fortress of detachment. Detachment is not indifference. It's strength under control. It is the art of remaining calm while others crumble, of seeing clearly when emotion blinds the crowd. Detachment is the silent fortress of power. Inside it, nothing reaches you that you do not allow. You see everything, feel everything, but remain ruled by nothing. The world glorifies passion, but passion without control consumes itself. Detachment refines passion into precision. It takes raw emotion and turns it into strategy. It separates reaction from response, impulse from intention. To be detached is not to be cold. It is to be composed in a world burning with noise. Imagine your mind as a citadel. The gates are your attention, and not everything deserves entry. Most people leave those gates wide open, letting gossip, drama, and insecurity flood their inner space. The powerful keep their gates sealed. They observe from the walls, analyze, and decide whether what stands outside deserves to come in. They choose carefully because they know whatever enters the mind shapes the man. Detachment begins with awareness. You must first understand what grips you, what makes you reactive, what steals your focus, what weakens your composure. Once you know your triggers, you can dismantle them. Detachment is not escape, it's elevation. It's the ability to rise above the noise, to view life from the vantage point of control. You cannot be manipulated if you do not emotionally depend on the outcome. The one who desires nothing desperately cannot be controlled by anyone. Detachment gives you leverage because it breaks the invisible chains of need. When your peace no longer hinges on approval, attention, or possession, you become untouchable. The powerful do not chase, they attract. They do not cling, they command. Detachment doesn't kill connection, it purifies it. You start to engage not from need, but from choice. You begin to see relationships, opportunities, and outcomes for what they truly are, not as extensions of identity, but as temporary alignments of purpose. You become both participant and observer, able to act deeply without losing control. Detachment also means understanding impermanence. Everything changes: status, emotion, circumstance, people. When you accept this truth, you stop resisting the flow of life. You stop trying to grip what was never meant to be held forever. The detached mind moves like water, fluid, adaptive, unbreakable. It cannot be cornered because it does not cling to form. Most people equate detachment with loneliness. They misunderstand it. Detachment is not the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. You still feel deeply, but you decide how long you stay there. You can experience joy without losing focus, and pain without losing purpose. The detached man understands that emotion is data, not destiny. To build this fortress, start with perspective. Before reacting, pause and ask, does this deserve my energy? Will this matter in a year? In a month? If the answer is no, withdraw your attention. The world feeds on reaction, outrage, distraction, argument. The moment you stop feeding it, it loses its power over you. That silence is your weapon. Detachment also guards you against manipulation. When people realize you cannot be provoked, their influence fades. They can't control a man who has no emotional handles to grab. Your calmness unsettles them because it reminds them of their own lack of control. That's why detachment commands respect, not because it's cold, but because it's rare. Detachment is also freedom from the illusion of control. You cannot control the external, only your response to it. The detached man stops fighting the flow of life. He adapts, redirects, and repositions. He doesn't drown trying to resist the tide. He rides it until he finds direction. This isn't surrender, it's strategy. He chooses his battles carefully, invests his emotion wisely, and saves his strength for what truly matters. To practice detachment, watch your language. Phrases like "I need" or "I can't live without" weaken your frame. Replace them with "I choose" and "I can." These words reframe dependence into agency. Your speech builds your psychology, and your psychology builds your reality. The detached man speaks like one who commands his world, not one who begs from it. This fortress of detachment is maintained through solitude. Alone time sharpens your emotional independence. It teaches you that peace is not something found in others, it's something built within. The more time you spend in solitude, the more you understand that external chaos cannot touch inner order. Solitude is not isolation, it's insulation. It's where you recharge your focus, refine your principles, and repair your armor. A Machiavellian truth. The one who controls his attachment controls his leverage. Those who cling lose power. Those who can walk away hold it. Detachment gives you negotiating strength in every area of life. Relationships, ambition, confrontation. When you can stay centered while others react emotionally, you dictate the outcome without needing to dominate. The detached man is not heartless. He loves, but with awareness. He works, but without obsession. He plans, but without panic. His mind is calm because he knows that control is never total, but composure always is. Every loss, every setback, every disappointment becomes data, information for future precision. Nothing breaks him. Everything teaches him. There will be moments when the world demands your reaction, when insult, failure, or betrayal test your equilibrium. In those moments, breathe, observe. Let silence carry your answer. Detachment is not running away, it's standing firm in understanding. You don't have to match chaos to control it. You only need to remain still long enough for it to collapse under its own weight. This stillness will confuse people. They'll misinterpret your calm as indifference, your patience as weakness. Let them. Detachment isn't for their approval, it's for your evolution. When others waste energy on noise, you conserve yours for strategy. When they react emotionally, you respond intelligently. Eventually, they will learn that nothing they do can move you, and that's when respect begins. The fortress of detachment is built through repetition. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you reinforce your walls. Every time you choose observation over reaction, your gates grow stronger. And every time you maintain composure under pressure, your throne becomes steadier. You are not hiding from life, you are mastering its flow. Comment this now. Nothing controls me but my focus. Because detachment is not withdrawal from the world, it is engagement on your terms. It's the decision to be fully present without being owned by what you experience. When you master detachment, you stop seeking peace, you become it. You stop chasing control, you embody it. You stop reacting, you start directing. The fortress stands not outside of you, but within you. And from that place of silence, you move through life like a shadow of calm precision, unshaken, unhurried, unbreakable. That is the true fortress of detachment, not built of walls, but of will. Number 8, the law of strategic isolation. Isolation is not withdrawal, it's recalibration. It's the act of stepping away from noise to realign with purpose. The world praises constant motion, endless connection, constant chatter, perpetual exposure. But those who understand power know that isolation is not escape, it's elevation. It's where you strip away distraction and rediscover direction. Strategic isolation is intentional solitude. You don't vanish because you're broken. You disappear to build. You leave the crowd not out of bitterness, but to sharpen your edge. In silence, you hear your true voice. In distance, you see who truly matters. Isolation reveals both weakness and strength, what drains you and what defines you. The powerful use isolation as a forge. They retreat not to hide, but to transform. Every quiet hour becomes a rehearsal